being that it's the 3 weeks, just a few days before Tisha B'Av, so we will be learning the Gemaras of Tisha B'Av that happen to fall out on today's Daf Nun Zayin, Nun Vav, and we'll do it without the Litzonos and the Simcha that we typically have. I just want to show two pictures that this is what Tisha B'Av is all about. Ilui Nishmas, Rusbas Mordechai, and we'll get to the other sponsors in a second. This is a picture of achdus. For me, this was probably my favorite picture of the tour. And in this picture, you see in the center is Tani Palak, and on the left is a famous chassid from our shir, Rabbi Bernhack, and all the way to the right is Morty. What's his name? Strauss. Morty Strauss is a very big tzaddik. So he has a ring on his finger. On the one hand, you have Tani Palak who went to YU, I think, and our chassid, all together singing ba'achdos. It's unbelievable. And this will bring Mashiach, Rabbi Yisai. But Morty, all the way to the right, he just donated his kidney yesterday, and he's learning the daf. And I spoke to somebody else just this week who donated his kidney and told me it took at least 2 weeks, just the pain, enormous amount of pain from surgery. I don't want to scare anybody, but it's not a joke. You don't just go in there and come out a half hour later. It's until you can even get back. He said every time he sneezed, it hurt him. Every time you cough, because it's all core. It's a big sacrifice, and it's tremendous chesed. And here we have just today, Rabbi P.C. Levin. He's at the baseball game, the Hatzalah versus the New York Police Department, and he recruited 25 new people to Torah. 25. You can even see Do Farkas on his screen over there. The Koil is sponsored, anonymous from Lakewood. L'schus, my mother-in-law, Shelama Esther as Baila, she should have Refuah Shelama. The Koil, Li Nishmas Chaim ben Moshe, Li Nishmas Pesal ben Moshe, the Koil, Paras HaYoim, Kolev Frickers, Mazel, Mesuda Bas, Eliyahu. The Masech, the sponsored by Moshe Banda, thank Hashem that I'm able to thank you for everything that I have. Parnas HaChodesh, Jeff Rosner, Ilui Nishmas, Yosef Simcha Chaim ben Shlomo Yehuda. Parnas HaChodesh, Lebovic family, Lakewood New Jersey, because torah and achdus are the best segula. Parnas HaChodesh, Ilui Nishmas Chaim bas Yosef, Parnas HaYoim, Refuah Shelama, for Tinok ben Baila Freidel. And the art of the month, for complete Refuah, for Chaim Tzvi ben Leah. Rabbi Yisai, we're continuing the sugya. Daf Nun Zayin. I have to tell you, as I was preparing the shir, I cried many times. Be'ezer Hashem, we're going to hold it together. Very sad stories of the Churban. We had that Unkelos, the famous Targum Unkelos, famous Ger. Before he became a Ger, he wanted to find out if he should become a Ger. And he brought down a Neshama. He brought down Titos. And now, Ozal Aski Lebilam. Before we get into it, I wanted to tell you a big chiddush that happened yesterday in the Koil that I wasn't aware of. It says yesterday in the Gemara that Niroin, he did tshuva, became a ger. And it says, Nofak minei, he had Rebbe Meir. How many generations later Rabbi Yisai was Rebbe Meir from Niroin? I couldn't believe it. The Belzer told me he was actually his son. Rebbe Meir was Niroin's son, he proved it, and we didn't believe it. And the Rambam actually says it, the Shita Mekubetza says he was actually his son. Nafak Minei, it seems like, generations later. No. Wanted to share that with you. Ozal, Aski Lebilam ben Egida, he brought down, with Kishuv, he brought down the Neshama, which is awesome Deraisa. Omar Lei, Man Choshev Awalma, who's considered great in the world to come? Omar Lei Yisrael, Klai Yisrael. Malad Abukibu, what do you think? Do you think it's a good idea to become a Jew? Omar Lei, Loi Sidroish Shloimam v'Toivasam Kol Hayamim. He took a passage from the Torah that we have a Isser to be Dorish Shloimam v'Toivasam. He said no, it's referring to Klal Yisrael. You see from here a Mordechai Sapoznick that a person who's a Rasha remains a Rasha in Olam HaEmes. He doesn't change. Nothing changes over there. He was a Shakran and a Rasha. He remained a Shakran. Right? He didn't say the truth. Loi Sidroish Shloimam v'Toivasam Kol Hayamim. Omalei. Tell me what? How did they punish you? Boiling zera. Says Rashi, it's a midah connected midah because he had the eitzah that Klal Yisrael should be mizana with bnei Ismayav, so he got punished with zera. Also, asking bin a gidel poishe Yisrael. He went and he brought the neshama of Poishe. It's a very hidden lashon over here because it says it in plural, like there's many Rishonim. If you look around in the article, you're not going to find who this is. But it's obvious that it's talking about a certain person that we cannot really mention because of different reasons. So, Dada Hakim Remiza, one of the fathers who's a Jew that learned in yeshiva, Omar Lei, Man Choshev Alma. Who's considered in the world to come? Omar Lei Yisrael. Klal Yisrael. What do you think about becoming a Jew? Omar Lei Toivasam Droish, Rasam Lesidroish. Go with the good. Don't try to harm them. If you try to harm them, it's like poking the pupil of the eye. It's going to hurt you. I thought this is fascinating. That's all he got for the hundreds of millions of people. What's your din over there? Boiling soya. The Omar Mar, that who pokes fun at Chachamim, Nidan B'tzori Sachas, his Einish is boiling soya. Tachazi, says Gemara, Mabim Posh Yisrael Nevi'u Misa'olam. A guy that went off the derech is greater than Bilam Arasha. Bilam lied, he said, don't become Jewish. And he had to admit the truth, you should become Jewish. Tanya Omer Belazar. Going back to Kamsa Bar Kamsa, the whole story that Kamsa was so embarrassed, he didn't want to leave the party. He begged for his life. He said, I'll pay for the party. And because they didn't listen to him, he went and he did the Churban Abayis. Shari Siyach, Kodesh Baruch Hu, Es Bar Kamsa, V'hecher Es Beisoi, V'sara V'sei Sorry, Bar Kamsa. Bar Kamsa went and Kodesh Baruch Hu helped him. Kodesh Baruch Hu Sayeh to the Oivri Aveira. Why? Shlomo felt bad for him. He had a busha. That's what you want to do. You want to burn my house down, burn it. We learned because of the chicken, the hen, and the rooster. Turmalka haramelech. It's not a question. How do you say haramelech in English or in German? It's a very famous name. Königsberg. König is a king. It's berg. Turmalka. It was destroyed. Haramelech. When they would take out the chasen and kala, they would bring out a hen and a rooster. It was a siman bracha. Should multiply like the roosters, like the chickens. Every day, chicken lays an egg. Every day. A bunch of Romans came by. They thought it was funny to take away their minog of having a chicken, so they took the chicken. The Jews struck the Romans, beat them up. Also, so they went and they told the Caesar, look, now the Jews not paying attention that, there's 5 soldiers here, but they're backed by millions over there. Let's beat these guys up. Very good. You beat them up, and now they're going to snitch. The Jews rebelled. Also, so the Romans came and destroyed them. Says the Gemara, oh, hold on. We have a picture here. Yoshi drew something. Look over this. Mamish, not AI. Straight out from scratch. Takes a long time, these things. There's a southerner over there from Dorim. He jumped very far, very athletic guy, and he was killing Romans left and right. Shakli Kesar Latoge. So the Caesar took his crown, he put it down on the ground. Omar, Riboine de Alma Kule. What does the Caesar do? He davens to Riboine Shalom. When he sees it's not going well for him, he knew who to daven to. Don't let that person, third person, don't let me go down. Don't let one person destroy my whole kingdom. Actually, so this Jew, Bar Doroima, slipped. You, Hashem, you left us, you forsake us. You're not gonna. It's like koichi va'otzim yadi. You left us, and you're not gonna help our army. You're not gonna help us. I'll do it myself, he says. And that was his punishment. Because he said these words, he got punished. David Nami says the Gemara, but it's a pasuk in Tehillim. Says the Gemara, David masma. It depends how you say it. David was saying it in a question. Well, the kids, did you leave us? And he said it as a statement. Hashem, you left us. I don't need you. I can do it myself. I have my own air force. I'm great. All the Beis Hakisei. So he goes to the bathroom. Also, a snake came. Shamte likarkashe. He took out his intestines. He already was in a vulnerable position. He was able to go in, take out his intestines, and he killed him. Omar, now the Caesar nace. Here's a guy jumping, killing, destroying his army. Suddenly he's dead. In 2 minutes, the guy's dead after he davened. He realized that has to do with his tefillah. I'm going to let Klai Yisrael alone. I'm going to leave them. Shavkinu va'azali left them. Is dakur v'achlu v'shasu. Klai Yisrael was happy. They danced. They drank and they ate. Va'adliku shrogi ad ischaze bilyoyna de gushpanko berochik mila. So here's a signet, a ring, that an antique ring. The light there was so much light from the candles that when you were a kilometer away, you were able to read what was on. In a very dark night, you were able to read what was on the signet. Omar michta kachadu beyudai. The Jews are happy, but like poking fun at me, as if they beat me. I let them go. They didn't beat me. Let me show them. So he went back and he destroyed the Jews. In other words, again, the idea that Klai Yisrael felt that they did it. They didn't realize that he didn't run away from them. HaKadosh Baruch Hu made him turn around, and they shouldn't have partied like that. Omer Avasit Lasme Alfish Shlifi Saifa Olu Turmalko. 300,000 sword-wielding soldiers came to Turmalko. Imagine 300,000 people killing for 3 days straight. 24 hours straight for 3 days. That's how many people died. On one side of Har Melech, there was a big party going on. It seems like there wasn't a good thing. Like there wasn't achdus maybe. It was like one side they were partying without even realizing that the other side was being destroyed. Is Baruch Hu consumed. He didn't have any mercy. 60,000 cities on this Har HaMelech, on this mountain. So we read it. It's hard to say. It's a guzma, not a guzma. The Gemara says 60,000 cities on one. 600,000. Sorry, 600,000. Shishim riboy. Riboy is 10,000. 60 times 10,000. And each one had 600,000 people. Do the math. Billions. There were 3 of these cities that had 1.2 million, 600,000 times 2. Eluhay, these are the cities, Kfarbish. So they say that, we're going to see also this, in Shas, 400 is always a guzma, always. 400 parsa, 400 barrels. 400 is a lot, but they say also 60. 60 is also Lashon and Guzma. The Gemara is going to say Mefurish. These are the 3 cities: Kfar Bish, Kfar Shechalayim, Kfar Decharya. Kfar Bish. What is Bish bad? What's bad about it? They wouldn't do achdus. The Chavetz Chaim, he says that people, when he gives Musar to people with that have a problem with achdus, he says that a lot of people they don't do achdus because they feel like their house is not worthy. I don't have a nice enough house. It's embarrassing to host these people. Or I don't have good enough food. Sometimes my house is too nice for people. So I don't want to mess it up, whatever it is. But he says that's not an excuse. If there are other houses that will host them, okay, fine. But if there's nobody else, you can't say that they should sleep in the street. There's no achdus just because my house is not nice enough. There's a story with Rabbi Yashiv. it's known, I mentioned it the other day, that Rabbi Eliyash was very, very quick with people. He didn't have patience for just the shmooze. There's no schmoozing with him. Even by his own kids' chasanas. He went in, chuppah, right after the chuppah basically went home to learn. So people were very concerned almost that there was a siren in Eretz Yisrael during the war, and they all had to go into the Cheder Mugan. They went in, they were in Rabbi Eliash's house asking questions, and they went into the room. And as they're in the room, he says, "What's your name? How are you? What's pshat? What happened to you?" He said, "Now they're my guests. Before, they were just coming and bothering me, asking me questions. But now that they're in my room, in the Cheder Mugan, now they're guests, now I have to treat them a little differently." So the Gemara. So they weren't very good with achdus, so it's called a bad city. Kfar Shichalayim. Why is it called Shichalayim? Shahoisa, Parnasasan, Min Shichalayim. This is cress. So they were named after what they would grow over there. Kfar Decharia. Well, why is it called the village of males? Omer b'yochon ha'shoyin shesem yolda is charm tchila, b'yolda is nekeva b'achrono poiskois. First they would have a boy, then they have a girl. Omer ulo di chazi liyahu asra. Says Ula, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about the 600,000 cities. I saw that whole mountain. Even 600,000 bamboo reeds, you can't even fit on this mountain. So it's a guzma. So a guy that was off the derech tells Rebbe Chanina, you guys are liars. How could you say there's so many people that died over there? There's millions, billions. Eretz Yisrael is considered the land of the deer. It says about Eretz Yisrael. When you take off the hide of a deer and then you try to put it back on, it can't fit. It's able to contain it while it's on. Eretz Yisrael, when Klal Yisrael is there, then there's plenty of room. Then it contracts. They all sing together. If you have anything to say about this place, say it. There's a story about an engaged man and woman. In those days, engagement means there was a ring, there were mekudesh. They were captured by the goyim, and they married them together. An incredible story. The wife tells the husband, "Al tigabi, don't touch me. Since we didn't write a ksuba, we got married in captivity. We don't have a ksuba, and it's also to live with your wife without a ksuba." And he never touched her. She said when he died, he controlled the Sahara more than Yosef at Tzaddik. That one time that they were Messiached, yes, he had a lot of Nisyonis, but the main time was a one-time thing when everybody left the house. And this was every single day of their marriage. Yosef didn't have to be in one bed, and they lived together in one bed. It's more of a yetzer when it's mutter. It's an incredible story. The story is about, I heard the story many times. I don't understand the story really, but they say the story, so I must have a lot of it. And they said about Moshe Feinstein also, they said for 8 years, but there was a couple, that Russian older couple, and the husband died without children. So nobody knew what to say by the Levaya. So the wife said, "You know what, I'm going to speak." And she said, "We didn't have children because we lived in Russia. And there's no mikveh there. And when we came to Eretz Yisrael, it was already too late." So the grain cost 40 moidiyos. You could buy 40 moidiyos for 1 dinar. This was a very special place that, based on the fact that the market crashed, 1/40th went down. They were able to tell it was only 1/40th, but for them it was a crash. It must be that something is going on. Something behind the scenes, somebody did some sort of aveira, something. This is like the spitz aveira a person can do. A father and a son together with a naira marasa, a psula who's between 12 and 12 and a half, engaged. She's considered Eishes Ish because she's engaged with a ring, with kesef. B'yoyim HaKippurim. On Yom Kippur, they were over in Aveira. V'vi'um lebezdin uskolum. So they killed them. V'chazar shalim koyva. That's how perfect this place was. There's one Aveira. When they got rid of the Aveira, everything went back to its place. There was a person who wanted to divorce his wife. She had a very large ksuba and he couldn't afford it, he didn't want to pay it. Also, he did a tremendous Aveira. He brought his friends, he gave them food and he gave them to drink a lot. Shikron, he made sure they got drunk. He put them on one bed together with his wife. And he took the white of an egg and he poured it over there. And he pretended that they were mizana. Famous Baba and Buddha was there. Something doesn't smell right. I have a tradition from Shammai. We know what happens when you try to cook an egg. It gets cooked. The shechva will melt from the fire. And they found out that it wasn't zera, it was an egg. And they gave him malchus. He didn't gain anything, he had to pay the ksuba. This whole city was so perfect. Look at all these stories. Okay, this story is a little interesting, but maybe it was a yachid that did this. It was an oisnam. But in general, there was a guy, a father, son, they did a terrible affair, got rid of them, everything went back to normal. They were tzaddikim. So why were they destroyed? Because they didn't do avelos on Yerushalayim. D'chsiv, simchu es Yerushalayim, v'gilu ba kol havel, sisu ita masois kol misablim alel. There's a chiyuv to be misabel on Yerushalayim. In the Mishnah Berurah, he brings down from the Arizal that today, in our days, during Bein HaMetzarim, the days we're in right now, so chatzos, hayoim, during the day, a person should sit down on the floor and say imesh kocheich. I don't know if we should sing it. Should we? No, because it's Tisha B'Av. What? It's 3 weeks. You're not allowed to sing. It happens to be that when I learned the sugya, I said I don't want to be a hypocrite. I'm going to learn it, say it, and I'm going to forget about it. So I sat down on the floor and I said this pasuk, and I burst out crying. It was the first time I did it. I have to be moed. I never really did Tikkun Chatzos, and it hit me. You guys should try it out. Don't push it off. One day soon, by Chatzos. Says the Gemara. Oh, it happens to be that Rabbi Victor Miller always says that a person should sit on the floor every day, just for a moment. And he says, but don't do it in front of anybody else. Don't make, you don't want to make yourself a bezayin, but it's kedai to sit on the floor and think about the Beis HaMikdash for a moment. So the Gemara, Ashaka the Rispak, Chorev Beitar. Because the side of a carriage, the whole Beitar was destroyed. The famous Beitar that we have today, we say in benching, Hatoy v'ameitev, Hatoy shalei srichu, etc., that we were able to bury them. When a boy was born, Shasli Arza, they would plant a cedar. Yenukta, Shatli, Trunisa. And when a girl was born, they would plant a pine tree. When they would get married, Taitzulu, V'avdi, Genona, they would chop down the tree that grew for the last 18 years or whatever and make a canopy out of it. Brati the Kesar, the daughter of the Caesar, came by. Her car broke down. Her wagon, a piece of wood fell off. So they chopped down they didn't ask questions, they chopped down somebody's cedar tree. Now, this cedar tree is for the guy's chasana, you just ruined the whole thing. It's like very similar to the other story, taking away the rooster, the hen, the simon. I guess they didn't learn a lesson from the story before, from Har Melech over there. They beat up the Romans, the Caesar's people. Also, unrelated cases, so they told Caesar, Mordechai Yudai, the Jews rebelled. Also, Alayu, so they came and destroyed Beitar. Goda B'chori Af, Koil, carrying Yisrael. Baruch Hu cut down with his anger the horns of Yisrael. Omer B'Zeir, Omer B'Avo, Omer B'Yochanan, Elu Shmoyne Melech, Karne. The Karen is referring to Karne Melchama, the leaders of different, each one was a leader. 80,000 leaders of soldiers. That's how many soldiers came in there. They killed everybody, even children. The blood went into Yam HaGadol. We have a picture, another picture that Yoshi did here. Check this out. Rabbi Isai. The river, this Gemara is going to say in a second, turned red. Shema toima kroiva ha'isa. You say, okay, it went 2 feet. It was a kilometer away. There's 2 rivers. One goes in different directions. They go different directions from each other. 2 parts water, 1 part blood. As Karmeim, 7 years the Goyim used this blood for their fertilizer. We learned, I believe in Yuma, that the blood of the Beis Hamikdash went into a certain pipe and would go out, and they would sell it to the farmers. Blood, I guess, is a good fertilizer. Amud Beis, sponsored by Mordechai Sapoznick and by the Tehillim group, Tehillim, MDY Tehillim, Tehillim.8min.com. Omer Mechia Bar Oben, Omer Refuah ben Korcha. An older fellow Yerushalayim told me, big zoo, right over here in this valley, the butcher, his name, the Rav Tabachim, he killed 2.1 million people. 210 times 10,000 riboy, or 10,000 riboy. Riboy, he killed 940,000, 11 achas, on 1 stone. The blood of Zechariah, which was on the floor of the Beis HaMikdash, was bubbling 250 years after Zechariah was killed. Like Chaim, there's a whole story over there with Yosh's mother wanted to be the queen. She killed out her whole family, and the Chacham were scared she's going to kill this baby. They took the baby Yosh, they put him in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. They figured Kodesh HaKadoshim is not going to look for him in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Put it in there with a nurse, and he grew up for 6 years, I think it was, in there. And when finally they decided, okay, he's the king, he was a good person, he was a good king, until it got to his head. When people told him, hey, you're like something special because you grew up in Kodesh HaKadoshim, you must be something out of this world, then he started doing crazy things, and he killed, Zechariah came to give them Musar, they killed him. Comes to Vuzardon, and he sees a supernatural thing. He sees blood that's boiling. He touches the floor, it's cold. What is going on over here? Omar, my hai. This is from the Korbanos. He didn't buy it. So he takes the blood of a goat, puts it next. It doesn't look like the same color. It takes the blood of a cow. It's not the same thing. Don't lie to me. Omar Lu, you can tell me the truth. Great. Similar to what they did to Rebbe Kiva, we'll take the metal combs and we'll just what? Weiter. R Eli, my name Eloch. Oh, what could we say? Nevi Ahavabon, we had a Navi 250 years ago. He'd give us Musar, Kaminan Alavei, we got up, Vikatlin, and we killed him. Vokamishnin, the law, Konayach Dame, 250 years, it's not resting, his blood is still boiling. Omar Lo, Anam Faisinale. What does the guy say? I'll take revenge for him. I see Sanhedrin Gdoila. He took the Sanhedrin, 71 Gdoile Adar, the Sanhedrin Tana, 23 of the Sanhedrin, the Tana, the smaller Sanhedrin, not in the Beis Hamikdash, the side over there. Kotal Alavei, V'loina. He shechted them right above the blood of Zechariah to see maybe their blood will be the revenge. No, nothing. Bachurim Psulais, he killed young children. Kotal Alavei, V'loina. I see Tinok Shabis. No, so the younger adults. I see Tinok, then he brought the children Shabis Ram from Cheder, Kotal Alavei, V'loina. The blood kept on boiling. Omalei, so this Rasha, Ruzardan, starts talking to him. Zechariah. Toivim Shebemi Batim. I killed the best of the best, the Sanhedrin, the children, without Averis. Nichalach, Dinu Lekula, you want me to kill all of Klal Yisrael? Immediately it stopped bubbling. Baishato here, Tshuva B'daite, Ruzardan thought about Tshuva, he didn't even say anything. Omar, if Klal Yisrael killed one person, Zechariah, this is what happens 250 years later, this blood, this bubbling. Au Gavra, me, the Kotek Al-Han and the Shmasa, I killed all these hundreds of people, Orak, Ozal, Shodidar, Shtar, Pirtaso, Bevese Vigayr. He ran away and he became a ger. He left over some document to tell his family what to do with all his belongings, and he became a ger. Why? He saw something that was incredible. He saw it bubbling, so he could have tirutzim. Why is it bubbling? Maybe this, maybe that, this component, that composition. But then when he said some tefillah, he said Zechari, Zechari, and it stopped, he realized there must be a Rebbeinu Shalom, and all you need to do is tshuva in your head. You don't even have to say it. It's all tshuva in their head. Says the Gemara Tana, Namon ger toishavaya. Namon became a ger. Ger toishav, says Rashi, always, according to one shita, is he stopped doing avodah zarah. Sometimes ger toishav, machlokes, ger toishav can mean stop. He was Chaim, the Shev Mitzvahs B'nei Noach. Upon him, he doesn't do avodah zarah anymore. Nevuzardon ger tzedekaya. Nevuzardon was a complete ger. Mibnei banav shel Haman, the enikels of Haman, limdu torah b'bnei brak. They taught torah b'nei brak. There's a shaila. How could they even accept the children of Haman to be gerim, Amaleki? We have a mechias Amalek. They say that Haman was a eved to Mordechai because the kikr slachem. So then his children were avadim. So all you need to do is release them, and they become Jewish. There's a girsa here, huh? By me, it says, I know we always said lamdu. By me, it says limdu. What does it say by you? It says lamdu. Okay. It says by you limdu, and the arsh says limdu. By you have what? The mesifta. It says lamdu. Archu says limdu. And this is the same company as yours. This is Oiz Vahadar. It says limdu here. Okay? It's a big nafkamina. If they taught, and I'll tell you pshat. I'll tell you pshat in the Machlokes art scroll and the Oiz Vahadar. There's a girsa here that says who it is. It says that it's Reb Shmuel Bar Shelas, who is the famous, when they want to talk about the best melamed, Reb Shmuel Bar Shelas. So if it's Reb Shmuel Bar Shelas, if you have that girsa, so then it's limdu. They taught. If you don't have that, then maybe you could say lamdu. Sisra limdu Tinok is b'Yerushalayim. Also by you it says lamdu here? Over here it's limdu. So, okay. So you see this, you could be a big Rasha, Sisra, you could be Sancherev, and if you do tshuva, it's always in skabel. The worst of the worst, people that destroy Klal Yisrael, if you do tshuva, you become a ger, you could teach Torah to Yidden one day. Maninun, and that's stam, limdu Torah. Who are the bnei bonav of Sancherev? Shmayev Avtalyon, Hillel's Rebbeim. The Zugois, Shmai Vavtalion, it's in Avos. They brought Torah, the chain of Torah. The famous pasuk when Yaakov Avinu tried to fool Yitzchak and take the brachas. So Yitzchak said, the voice is that of Yaakov, but the hands feel like the hands of Esav. Hakol zeh. So there's a different girsa here. Tachyanos, not Adrianos, doesn't fit in. And it's interesting because this Tachyanos, it's not easy to say, but Tachyanos was a Jew. Tachyanos Kaisar, Shaharag Belchzan Yushem Mitzrayim, Shishim Riboy, a Yid, what a Yid could do. Al Shishim Riboy, 2 times 600,000, 1.2 million. Keflayim Ki Yotzim Mitzrayim, twice the amount of people that came out of Mitzrayim. Kol Yaakov, Zas Pasyanos. So over here the Goris, Adrianos, it's a different generation. Kesar, Shoy Vikrach Beisar, Arbamois Riboy, 4 million people, Vamrilah, Arbasalafim Riboy, 40 million. Again, the 40, the 400 could be it's a Lashon of Guzma. Vaidai Midei Yesov, Zumachasur Shah, Rome, Shechrivas Betenu, they destroyed Rabbi Samik Savar, Zechilenu, Vigdisono Maratzenu, and they removed us from our country. Dova Kol Kol Yaakov, another Pshat. Eiluchot Tfilah Shemel Sheim Ba Mizar Shel Yaakov, when you want a good tefillah, and it comes from the descendants of Yaakov Avinu, Vayidayim de Yosef, you get the hands, the power. A winning army has in it some Edom in it. Rebbe Lazar, who says that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of Lashon Hara, he says B'shoit Lashon Techave, with the whip of the mouth, of the tongue, Techave, hide, B'chichur Lashon Techave, because of Lashon Hara. Techabe. Omar Yehuda Omar Rav Maidich Sebal Naharas Bavel Shom Yeshavnu Gam Bochinu. On the rivers of Bavel we sat and we cried. It's very hard not to sing this now, but because of the days. The David HaMelech is saying this pasuk. From the pasuk you see that he knew about the first Churban and the second Churban. He wasn't Zoycha to see the Beis Rishon, only his son Shelama. Churban Beis Rishon shenemar al Naharis Bavel, because Klai Yisrael was chased out and they had to leave and go to Bavel. Shom Yeshavnu Gam B'chinu. So obviously he knew about Churban and Beis. Beis Sheni, and the second Churban, the Chsiv Zechar Hashem Livnei Edom. Edom is Rome. Es Yoim Yerushalayim Ha'oimrim Oru Adei Yisayid Ba. Omer Rav Yehuda Omer Shmuel V'Temer Rav Ami V'Amir Lo Mitzis Tana. Ma'aseh Bar Ma'amis Yilodim V'Yilodi Shenishbu L'Koloi. 400 boys and girls who were captured by the Romans for Koloi, for shame. In other words, for Aveira. The boys also with Scharim and the girls for Aveira. Igishu Ba'atzmam. They realized that they weren't just being captured to be slaves; they were being captured to do Aveiras Lamaim Misbakshin. Amru. They were on the ship. Imanu Toivim Bayam. If we drown ourselves, Anuban Chayalim Abba, we'll at least get Gan Eden. Darish Leim Agadosh Behem. The older one got up. Omar. Adonai Mibashan Ashiv. Ashiv Mitzulis Yam. Hashem will answer from the depths of the sea. Mibashan Ashiv. Mi Ben Chine Ari Ashiv. Between the teeth of the lion, those who drown in the sea. The girls heard this. They all jumped into the ocean, which reminds me of the famous story of the girl that a Cossack grabbed her and he was about to do an Aveira with her, and she said, we, in our tradition, we have a special pasuk that we say that could save us from a knife. He says, it's impossible. He says, try it. Look, I'm going to say this. You stab me and I'm not going to die. So she said, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad, and he stabbed her right in the heart and she died. Because she didn't want to be over the Aveira. They jumped into the ocean. Sometimes you're allowed to commit suicide when you're going to be over Aveira. So the boy said, this is human nature. This is how it is, unfortunately. Certainly we shouldn't be over the Aveira, and they drowned. We considered like sheep going to slaughter. So when I learned the sugya, I thought we're talking about Chana v'Shiva Bonel, which is not even mentioned in Shas, it's mentioned in Medrash. And we found out that l'chayr we're not talking about Chana v'Shiva Bonel. We're talking about an identical story, but in a different generation. And her name is Miriam Bas Hanachtoim. Why her name is not mentioned here, I'm not even sure. They brought her and her 7 boys from the Caesar. Amrulei plach lavedizara. Tell the oldest one, do avedizara. Amar lahu kosu b'Torah. Anoichi Hashem Elokecha. I'm not going to bow to avedizara. Apku v'katlu. They killed him. They brought the second boy. It's interesting because each boy said another pasuk in the Torah, a different one. Sarah said the verse. The Marsha asks, why didn't the first boy say this pasuk? This is the main pasuk. And why do you need 7 psukim? In the Marsha, he says about the 7 days of the week. Each one was killed on another day. Apku v'kitlu, and they killed him. They brought the third one. Amrulei plach lavedizara. You have a chance to save yourself, not like your brothers. Amalu kosbatar zevech lelihim yechram. If you slaughter to another god, you'll be destroyed. Apku v'kitlu, they killed him. Fourth, Amrulei plach lavedizara. Amalu kosbatar leisishtach apku v'kitlu, they killed him. Ormalei plach lavedizara. Amalu kosbatar shma Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Apku v'kitlu, they killed him. Ormalei plach lavedizara. Amalu kosbatar Yudat hayoim v'shavois alevecha ki Hashem hu Elokim b'shamayim v'ma'av v'la'aretz b'tochas einoid. Apku v'kitlu. Say it every day in Aleinu. Asiyu liidach. Ormalei plach lavedizara. Now this kid, it says in the Medrash, this kid was only 2.5 years old. It says, what's the lashon? Menachem. It's shnosayim v'chetzi v'sheish shoyis umechza, something like that. The exact hour. He's only 6 hours and a half. He's 2.5 and 6 hours old. Why the measure says that, I don't know. So we're not just making this up. There's 2.5 years old. We know exactly when he was born. But listen to what he says. Kid's a genius. Oh, he says, you 2.5-year-old, bow. Because of Torah, Hashem Hamarta, Hashem Emircha Ayoim. We swore to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we're not going to trade him for another God. And in return, HaKadosh Baruch Hu swore to us, and he's not going to take another nation. So Caesar tells him, so we already had this picture, but the Gemara brings it again. Where was it? This guy, the signet. I'm going to drop this by mistake. I'm going to make kilo. I dropped it. You'll pick it up, so you have a good answer, a good teretz why you bowed. Now he saw his 6 brothers dying. He has a great way out of it. It might even be mutter. There's a taxi driver in Bet Shemesh, Hayom Hazeh, who used to be a police officer, and he was called to the Minzar. There's a famous church here on the mountain. They own a tremendous, Beit Jamal. And they were called, there was a break-in, so they came, 2 cops. One cop didn't want to go in. He's like, I'm a Kohen, I can't go in. He made up a story. He says, okay, you go in. So the other guy goes in, and they brought him into this room, and there's a small like door. And he realized that if he bends in to go in, there's a big cross there. So he turned around and went in backwards. And they didn't like it. And they called Rome, a whole thing, and they fired this guy. They fired him, and today's a taxi driver. You gotta be careful. I don't no, I'm just doing my job. I'm not bowing, I'm going in. No, gotta be careful. Omalei, chaval alach Kesar. Chaval alach Kesar. This 2.5-year-old tells this Caesar, it's a shame on you, shame on you. Look at you. You so want me to bow to you, and you can't stand that us kids are not bowing to you, and you're willing to lower yourself and make up a story that you dropped your ring. What about Melech Malchim Elohim? Apku lemigdalei. So they brought him out to kill him. Amralu imei. So the mother said, at least Yehavu Nahalei Benashke Purta. Let me kiss him a little bit. A 2.5-year-old is going to die. Let me kiss him. Which reminds me also of the famous story. I like to say it a lot because it touched me the first time I saw it, when the Russian mother, she was finally able to do a bris for her son, and they gave her the boy. I choke over when I think about it. She took the boy and she kissed him, and she fell on the ground. She fainted. So what's pshat? She said she wouldn't kiss him. She made a nether. She's not going to kiss him until he gets a bris milah, to make sure that he gets a bris milah. So let me kiss my boy. Let me kiss my boy. But here's a powerful story. Omer Loi, instead of kissing him, she used that opportunity not to say goodbye to her kid. Kiss, hug the kid. No. Go tell your father, Avram Avinu. You did Akedah on one son. Not even. You tied him up. You didn't even have to kill him. And I just sacrificed 7. Unbelievable. She went crazy. She jumped off the roof. Some say she fell off by mistake. She was so delirious that she didn't commit suicide. Afal Pikein says over here, Yotza Baskal v'Amra. A heavenly voice came out of Baskal. Eim habarim smecha. I think this is a tremendous chizuk and a nechama for people that lost young ones. It says here, she lost 7 kids. 7 kids, and she herself committed suicide. What could be sadder than that? But the mice, at the end of the day, what counts? Being happy up there in Olam Hamas. She was happy in Olam Hamas. We could be sad in this world, and we think, it's so sad. How she lost 7 kids. No, at the end of the day, she was very happy. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Omar Zu Mila Shenitna Bashmini. Bris Milah, many kids over the years died from Bris Milah. So this pasuk, I forgot to show you this pasuk that we're talking about the entire time. Ki alecha iragnu kol hayom. Every day we die for you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Nichshavnu k'tzoyin tivcha. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish Omar Elu Tamid Chacham Shemarim Hilchos Shchita Ba'atzmam. Rashi learns that they take the knife of shchita and they show it on their neck. They say, go like this. And sometimes it slips and slits their throat. That's a ragna kol hayom. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't show on your own throat. The Marsha says no. It's al tiftach pele satan. You don't make a motion on your own throat. Comes out a tremendous nafkamina, says the Darchei Tshuva. If you're teaching Hilchos Shchita, could you show with your hand? You don't have a knife. According to Rashi, you could. Because the whole problem is you might slit your throat. You're not going to slit your throat with your hand. But according to Maharsha, it's a problem. Anything you show on yourself, besides tsaras. Again, if anybody has pshat, why sometimes the Gemara calls this davar acher, a pig is davar acher, and this is davar acher, and the different things are davar acher. Tsaras is always called davar acher. They kill themselves over Torah. I don't know. I'll go as far as saying, don't take it from me. Look it up. But if a person gets up early in the morning, he loves to sleep. He loves that cozy blanket, and he gets up 10 minutes early to learn. He's killing himself. Which misa, sleep is like misa, but killing himself at Torah. Now watching that movie and learning instead, learning on the flight, learning when you don't want to, learning in bein hazmanim, bein hazdarim. Meimis atzmei oleh. Then the Torah is miskayim you. Shenemar zois Torah adam ki yomis ba'el rabboisai. We should see the biyam es hamilush bekorov.